Hello there! So this is a new kind of video I'm trying to make. It's a review video. Just because I don't want my channel to be only gameplay and stuff like that. I want a variety. So this is the first review I'm gonna make. It's about Hellblade Senua Sacrifice. I just finished the game today. I've been playing for a week, maybe, in a few intervals. And I must really say I liked the game a lot. I really enjoyed all the experience and I wanted to talk about it. Of course, it's important to mention spoiler warning, and also this is a review about my experience and these are my opinions. Don't take everything seriously. Just don't think that I'm talking this like an expert. I'm no expert. I'm just saying what I felt while playing the game and what I think about it. Okay? All right. The game main theme is about psychosis and schizophrenia, and considering that these are not widely discussed topics in any medium like movies or games, it's really cool to see them taking this challenge to make a game talking about it, where there's not a lot of people who understand this condition, um, and this goes throughout the entire game. Yes, the very first thing you are introduced to when you start the game is the voices inside the protagonist's head. These was very well conveyed because of the technology they used. They used binaural audio, where the voices can be right behind you or are all around you, and you really feel you are in a 3D space with the voices. It's not like you see an NPC and you know the voice is coming from there. No, these voices are disembodied. You have no idea where they are from. You know they are part of the protagonist, and one really cool idea is that they make you, the player, part of the voices, so to speak. Right in the beginning, when when Senua is arriving at the first location, the voices are speaking, and she finally recognizes them. Like, she looks around, the voices say, "Oh no, she's looking back," and then she addresses you directly. She says, "Come with me. Let me accompany me on my journey." It's a really interesting idea to bring the attention of the player and really feel like you are part of it. You're not just playing it. Besides the audio hallucinations, there's also the world around it. The very idea of the game is that you are constantly questioning if the world you are is real or is just something inside Senua's head all the time. And this is brought up by hallucinations and the very enemies of the game. They are creatures, grotesque creatures, like dead bodies, but that have been reanimated into soldiers. And you don't see faces or anything. They always wear masks, and they are very Viking-like, because that's the very story of the game. Senua is a Celtic, and she is venturing into Viking territory. You see the world. Sometimes there are shadows and spots covering the land, and humming in your ear. You know that something is going through her head, but suddenly it stops. It's something that's regular on intervals. It's not scripted. It's not programmed to be done exactly at some points. It's really random, and this is something really cool, that the game makes a lot of things random, especially the difficulty, where in the difficulty settings you have easy, medium, and hard, and there's an auto difficulty. And this difficulty is really interesting because it starts off with the very first battle. Let's say if you finish all the enemies without breaking a sweat, the game understands, oh, you think this is too easy. Let me harden things a little bit for you. So on the next battle, you are going to face more enemies, or enemies a little harder, and so on. And when you finally had it, when you finally, oh, I can't deal with this, and you die, the game says, okay, let's make things easier so you don't get stuck here, and then you can continue. I basically died 4 to 5 times throughout the whole game, and I noticed this very well. There were some points when I was facing like 10 enemies and I died right on the last. And when I began again, I only have to face 3, and there it is. I'm through with it. I don't have to repeat. It's not frustrating in that way. The game doesn't cause frustration due to its gameplay. I think the main focus of frustration is the idea of permadeath. This is a very cool idea that really rings out with the theme of psychosis. The idea is that Senua is slowly losing her sanity and slowly fading into darkness, and if you die too many times, you are giving yourself into your illness, and it makes total sense. A lot of games don't try this because people tend to not like games with permadeath, where if you die too many times, if you are not good enough for the game, you simply fail and you have to start all over. I understand there are a lot of people who don't like that, but in this game it makes a lot of sense. Actually, it was the main point that makes me frightened of the entire game. Like, I could see the entire map or the enemies, and that didn't scare me. The game is not a horror game. It's that as action and adventure with a lot of suspense, and but the permadeath is what gets into your nerves, makes you tense a lot of times because you don't want to die. You want to experience this throughout, and that's basically it. The game is very beautiful. It's very interesting. The stories you hear throughout, not only Senua's, but a whole assortment of uh, not Celtic, Vikings stories regarding North gods. They are really cool to hear piece by piece. Of course, these are collectibles you have to look out for. There's also the relationship between Senua's and her mother. I only got a few of those. They are very hidden. Um, and this is the idea of the game. The game is really cool, really beautiful, and a really interesting idea all throughout. If I were to say any complaints about the game, it would be in the last almost the last session of the game. I don't know if this is expected, but the waves of enemies were getting too numerous, way too numerous. Like, there were 2 parts before the main battle, before the main final battle. There were 2 parts where I faced like 20 enemies, and they wouldn't stop, so I eventually died and had to face like 3 or 4 and pass along. I don't know if the auto difficulty has an upper limit, like you can go indefinitely way harder than anything else, or it's just me and I'm just too noob for this. uh, and one thing, I'm not sure if the permadeath is that complex of a gimmick, because as I understood in the beginning, if you die too many times, you die for real. You had a limited number of lives, but this is never explicitly said. The only indication you have is that your arm has a rot. It's called, it's like a virus spreading through, and it starts off like this, right at this point. The more you die, it gets spreading until it reaches your head. At this point, you die eventually. But this is the main thing. This is supposed to be an indicator, and a lot of times this indicator was sometimes up, sometimes down. Whenever I loaded the game or whenever I died, suddenly everything went back, and I was like, I don't know if there's a condition for me to recede, not recede, yes, to make it smaller, to take away the rot. So this was never explicitly said, but if it's not the case, then my game was a little bugged in that sense. But nothing game breaking, so everything went down smoothly. I really liked all the experience. Now talking a little bit about the involvement that I had. This was a very emotional game. I really liked the main story of the protagonist, the main idea that she's out to find her lover's soul because she wants to set her lover free of the torment. And in the beginning, you think like, oh, this is just a hero trying to save her lover. It's really something simple as that. But no, when you reach the end, the main idea of the game is that if indeed everything is inside Senua's head, basically you are fighting against the inevitable all the time. You are going after someone that already died. And the entire journey is about Senua's facing this and finally accepting it. But at the same time, she's also struggling about herself and about her condition. So it's not as one sided or one dimension as it seems. The very end of the game is very confusing in the beginning, but after I read some other reviews, I could understand that if indeed Senua was struggling with herself, then the very main antagonist that you are fighting, Hela, she's also just a part of Senua's starting to that's trying to say, "Wake up, girl! He's dead. He's not coming back. Live your life. You can do it. It's not too late for you." So basically, if you die in the game, if you fail your mission, you're not failing to save your lover. No, he can't be saved. You are failing to save yourself. And that hit really hard for me. The game was really good. I really recommend it. So I really hope you enjoyed this kind of video. I hope I can make a lot more like this for games that I post videos about, and even games that I don't post videos but I still play and I still enjoy. I would like to talk about those. And if you have any opinions that you want to share as well, leave it on the comments. I'm trying to get into this interactivity of YouTube. So thank you.